It might be November, but Christmas is coming a little bit early today because I just got shipped to me a set of aftermarket front and back bumpers for my 2022 Jeep Wrangler JL. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to remove the front and back bumpers and then get these new ones installed. So stay tuned. So getting started with the install, let me go ahead and put up on the screen here what we're going to need for tools for both the front and the rear bumper installation and removal. All right, so let me go ahead and show you guys what we got. Let's show you the boxes that we got from the company. So I'm digging here into the back bumper and everything looks good, looks nicely packaged. I'm just cutting some of all the packaging off, right? But looks good. I looked just kind of quickly here at the instructions, and it looks like they give you a pretty good instruction sheet, a couple pages long, got pictures, so gives you a tool list, all that good stuff. So pretty stoked. I just want to get this thing open and kind of see what the actual bumper looks like. One thing to note is if your Wrangler has the rear backup sensors, or the reverse kind of sensors, I don't think that this will work. I don't think it has holes for those sensors to go into, so you'd probably have to try to drill holes in the bumper to be able to get those in somehow. Luckily my 22 Wrangler doesn't have the reverse sensor, so it's not going to be an issue for us, but that's something to keep in mind if you're thinking about doing a rear bumper on your JL. All right, so here's a little sneak peek of the back bumper. I just took it out of the box, just kind of laid it out here. But it's cool. It's got the little red accents, which is going to match with my firecracker red. So I'm super stoked about that. And of course we have, if you guys don't have a hitch, then this comes with one. But again, mine already has the factory provision. So it's going to match pretty nicely. And they'll also match the Odro steps, or steps, or sidebar, Nerf bar, rock rails, whatever you want to call them. I got those from Odro, also on Amazon. So I'll put a link to the old video. There's a video installing those. And then I believe these ones are from YITAMOTOR, same company that makes these bumpers. So I put these onto the wife's 21 Wrangler 4xe. And again, these things are holding up great. They seem to have the same finish that these bumpers do. So I have no doubt that it'll hold up really well, because we've had our side steps and stuff on for, I don't know, 4 or 5 months or so, and they're holding up great so far. All right, let's get the front guy unboxed. Some brackets, instructions. So again, looks good. Couple of pages, looks like some nice pictures, so that'll help make it easy, hopefully. All right, so again, looks well packaged. Let's see how it comes out. All right, so again, really digging everything about it. I mean, it's heavy duty, everything looks good. I really like the red accents. Again, that's going to match the firecracker red on my particular Jeep. And then it'll be interesting to see if the factory fog lights will bolt back in here. It sort of looks like they will. So I don't know how well you can see it, but there's actually the 4 bowl holes here. So I'm hoping that that's for the factory fog lights, and I can just be able to bolt those back in. That'll be awesome. So here it is, just laid out, so we kind of get an idea. Front and back bumpers. So this one's going to be nice and stubby. It's going to look cool with that bar on top. And looks like, getting into some of this stuff, they've got everything kind of nicely labeled. Like this is L. This other stuff, I think I ripped it open too soon. Probably have letters on it too. But anyway, so should be cool. So I'm going to go ahead and get the Jeep in here, and let's get started on the front bumper now. So for disassembly of the stock bumper here, the front bumper, it looks like we've got a couple clips. So I think that clip there, that clip there. This is also clipped to the bumper, but I'm hoping we can leave a lot of that on and just remove that as one assembly. And then kind of the next thing we got to work on is getting these off here. So this will give us access to fog lights, the wiring. I believe that it's just this one clip here. Let me get it to focus there. So this one clip right there is going to be our clip for both fog lights, so we just unclip that. And then once this is off, once we get access to the bolts, there's basically 8 bolts. So there's 4 bolts, 2 on each side of like the bumper horn. So 8 big bolts in total. Those are probably either the 18 or 21 millimeters. And then this splash shield will probably need to come off. There's a few little, I think like 8 millimeter bolts. Like all these do not need to come off, I don't think. They'll stay with the plastic bumper, but there's a couple little screws right there, and then a lot of just little push pins, little like body pins. So I'm going to start getting all those off, and I'll see where we get to, but should be pretty straightforward, pretty simple. We've got the advantage that this vehicle is only, it's 2022, and it's only maybe 5 or 6 months old, so shouldn't be any rust. Everything should just fall right off beautifully. So down underneath the bumper, like I was telling you guys, we're going to have this little, I think it's an 8 millimeter. So basically just a bolt, 2 bolts, and that will disconnect the bottom. And then it looks like we probably will have to get all of these clips. So I already popped one clip out, and these are just some, body clips. You can just use a screwdriver. I like to use this pick tool, especially while we're laying underneath the car right now. For some of these guys, right, we need to kind of pull straight down. There's not a lot of access to get like a screwdriver, so I'm going to go ahead and pop those off. That'll get this out of the way. And then my understanding is there'll be a metal thing back here. There's 2 bolts that hold the metal kind of splash shield or whatever. Get that out of there too. And then just keep rocking and rolling. All right, now this part is optional, but this piece of metal right here, it's just 2 bolts to take it out. You don't have to, but it is going to be easier to get to the rest of the bolts that we need to get to if you just take 2 seconds, zip these 2 guys out, get this thing out of the way, and then we'll have a much easier time in here. I zipped off the 2 screws holding this. They were 16 millimeter, came off real easy. And actually, looking at this now, we don't even need to take off, I don't think, the inner plastic portion here. It looks like we actually, now that that's removed, we have total access to the 8 bolts. Again, 4 on each side, 2 on the outer side of the horn, 2 on the inner, 2 on the outer, 2 on the inner. So, and then the harness for the fog lights looks like, since I disconnected it, it's right there. So I think that's it. We just now got to take off these 8 bolts. Let me kind of show you what these big dudes look like. And I think one side will be sort of easy, where we can get our gun in there, or at least my little electric ratchet. So again, 2 there, and then it's just 2 over here on this side. And that's it, guys. So same on the other side. Then you can see where I disconnected already this little harness, and the harness just goes right in there. So yeah, see? So I got all 8 of these bolts off. They're all 18 millimeter, and they came off pretty easy. Anyway, so this bumper should be ready to pull off. Let's see if we got it. Anything else we forgot here? Feels like there's still something. Oh, I don't think so. Look at that, success. All right, guys, so that's pretty freaking simple. 8 bolts, maybe like, I don't know, 10 clips, 12 clips, something like that, but real easy. Yeah, all right. Now let's figure out how the new one goes on. Some quick comparison shots just between the sheer size, right, of the OEM bumper compared to this new one. So going to be a lot stubbier, give you a little bit more aggressive look, all that cool stuff. And I'm super excited about this bull bar or bash bar, whatever it is. To get to the original fog lights on the old bumper, there's just 6 of these little body clip things. So again, get a little screwdriver, pick tool, pop those off. And what do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4 bolt holes. And that looks exactly like it's going to match into the new YITAMOTOR bumper. So I've gotten the cover off of both sides for the fog lights here. And the trouble I'm having now is you can see where this wire harness, it goes down and in across here and then back up through this side. So I'm not sure if I've got to take off the 75,000 small bolts here to get this plastic cover off of this side to get access, or maybe there's like these 2, 4, 6, 8 bolts to get this kind of metal cover off. Maybe that'll give me access. So I think I'm going to try these 8 bolts first, and let's see if that works. All right, so I got this piece of metal removed. There was just 8 13 millimeter bolts. Pop that off, and this is what we've got. So we still don't have a way to get this whole thing out. It looks like it's kind of held in with a bunch of these little kind of rivets. So, but because we've got a connector here, I'm still not sure we could, finagle that thing all the way through. So I think I've got to go ahead and get off all these 7mm bolts. So there's, quite a few all the way around through here, and then they're up on the top. The other good news is the fog light holes do line up, and I think it says I can just use the old hardware, so we'll get those zipped right in there, and that'll be freaking awesome. So this thing looks so far like it's going to be really, really simple. YITA did a good job. Everything's kind of labeled, and then you can reference, okay, what it is in the instructions, which have nice pictures. So I already kind of started laying out, where all these shackle brackets go, all this stuff. For example, on this side, this guy has like a little notch, so they tell you, make sure the notch is in the lower section, on the outside, all that good stuff. And I put all the bolts together, got all those ready to go. So looks like we got all the hardware we need, so we should be good to go as soon as we get this the rest of the fog lights out of here. So once you get about 6,000 of these 7mm little bolts out, then this thing does just kind of rise right up out of here. And now we have access to get the remaining clips for this harness. So far this has been the hardest part of the whole install. So anyway, once we get that done, then we'll finally get around to actually bolting this bad boy onto our Jeep. Got the fog lights all bolted in, and again, we used the factory hardware here, so you just zip those in. That was easy peasy. Now, because we have a stubby bumper, we've taken off like more than a foot probably from the original. We had a bunch of excess wiring because these headlights used to be kind of more in this area on each side. So I just took some zip ties, kind of zipped it up for now. Once we get it bolted onto the Jeep, then we can maybe fine tune this a little bit more in case we can see it or anything. But don't leave all this crap hanging down. You want it to be nice and tidy. You don't want it to get ripped off when you're off road, all that kind of stuff. And then I'm just hoping right now too that I have enough leeway left to be able to reach the factory connector. So that's kind of why this is just still sort of loose in case we need to make some adjustments. But this should be good. I think next I'm going to get this bull bar mounted on, and then we'll be able to start getting all of this stuff bolted on. So with our bumper, we're going to start out using the biggest set of bolts that we have. These are M12s. So I'm going to get these ready to rock here. And we're basically going to put this large piece up, and then we're also going to put these shackle pieces up too, and then put our bolts through and get those all bolted in. So this will be the main thing to get in, and then from there it's just kind of adding on a little bit by little bit. So again, for these, we're making sure that these big shackle brackets that are little corner edge on the outside has this little cutoff piece. So make sure that's right on both sides, and then we'll be good to go. Get these all cinched down. Now the next step is a little tricky. So basically what it's saying is there's two nut certs that come with the kit here. So these are basically just going to be a captured nut that we have to slide into the open part of the frame. And then these are going to be some support brackets that just go on the actual frame rail, and then they connect up to this bumper just to give some added security, some safety. So these are actually different left to right. So the instructions, they show you the passenger side one, and then you just repeat the same process. But just to give an idea, kind of what you're going to want to do is go ahead and drop your top bolt in first and get this thing kind of held on, just so it's helping you hold it all in place, because otherwise it's a little bit tough to kind of juggle all this. So get this guy on first. Then this guy, you got to get in from the bottom, and then see how he's just going to go right here. But yeah, so go ahead. Basically just get him in like this, slide him straight up. And it's probably hard to tell on the camera, but basically there's a little area here where this is going to slide up to. And you can get your hands in here. It's not too difficult, but get this thing up. Then you can kind of hold it up here from the top, and then be able to come back and shove your bolt in So again, pretty easy, takes a little finagling, but I'm going to repeat the process for that side, and then kind of the basic spot will be done, and then I think we're going to go do some work on the actual bumper, just to put on some of the accessories to get it ready to actually put back on here. So getting over to the bumper, these are just basically the last few steps until we can take this thing and then put in the final, maybe what, 6 bolts I think actually hold this kind of outer shell to the actual subframe. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and put these little pieces onto the bull bar. So again, these are just some kind of stylized pieces. They're not adding any kind of like structure, but you know, it just kind of makes it look a little bit cooler. So those are going to take the M8mm hex head bolts, just like these guys. So one on each side. Then there's a couple brackets that they give you, and again, this is optional, but if you wanted to put a light bar, you can actually got to bolt these in and then be able to put your light bar. I don't have a light bar right now, but maybe I'll add one in the future. So I'm going to go ahead and just bolt those in just so they're there. That way it'll be a little bit easier. They're already on there. And then what else? The other thing is once we get this actually bolted onto the Jeep, then they have like the little kind of plate for if you have a winch. This kind of will go on the front. And then they even give you some brackets to add a license plate if you live in a state that needs a front license plate. So I'm going to go ahead and get this all bolted on, and then we'll get the actual bull bar bolted on, which that also takes the M8. And yeah, then we're going to get this thing out of the car. All right, guys, here she is all dressed up, ready to go. And we just got her now bolted onto that front kind of subframe. There's only going to be 6 bolts for the big guys, and then 1 on each side of these little bit smaller hex head. And then once that's all on, then we just got to put on our 2 tow hooks from the shackle that'll be protruding. We pop those on, and we're good to go. Moment of truth. Okay, you can see that bolt hole is lining up. And those are 2. Yeah, buddy. Just give her a couple love taps. That's it. That gave us what we needed. The hole that's in the bumper is just slightly too small here for these big boys. So might just have to grab me old trusty here and just, I mean, barely anything, but just wallow it out just a little bit. Yep. Slides right in. Perfect. Nice thing with the hardware they sent too is that it's all, you know, it's got a nice black coating, but it's also all oiled up, so that's nice too. No rust, no corrosion, so let's get these bad boys tightened up real quick. Now remember guys, we took off this, I don't know, splash shield, rock protector thing, so this guy just basically slides back up. It's got some little clips that just clip there, and then it's just 2 bolts. So get that back in, and then that way you're good to go. All right, last step. Just got to stick these tow hook bad boys on here. Whoop. The cool part that I like about these is you can remove this piece, and let's say, you know, your colors for your Jeep were not red. You know, you can go and get these powder coated or just spray paint them to match whatever theme you got going on with your Jeep, so that's kind of cool. I mean, you could even like paint these things, and gives you some different options, so I kind of like that. But just so happens to already perfectly match what I'm doing. So let me get this other one on, and then let's get this thing backed out of here. We'll show you some pictures of it. All right, guys, well, here you have it. Front bumper is done. It's looking awesome. I absolutely love it. So I put the stock bumper here just kind of for, you know, quick comparison. So yeah, check it out. I think the stubby, shorter bumper just looks so much cooler, especially with the 37s that we have on this Rubicon 4xe. It just sets it off. Looks a lot tougher, looks a lot more aggressive. So now let's go ahead and get to the back bumper. And then once we get that all done, I'll kind of take this thing, I'll put it over next to my wife's Jeep, which is still stock, you know, as far as bumper goes, and we can kind of do a comparison, you know, her Jeep right next to my Jeep, kind of see how it all looks. So stay tuned for that at the end. Almost forgot, here's a shot of it with the fog lights. So factory fogs, this does have the LED package, so looking sweet with the lights. All right, so first things first, attacking this back bumper. I'm just kind of reading off what this tells me to do. So it says that there's going to be three little bolts down here. They're just little 8mm guys. Let me crawl under here. Oh, I'll show you guys what we're talking about here. So we're going to have to get off our factory tow hook. So we'll blast a couple. Those are some big boys. I think those are 21s. And the little bolts they're talking about, there's one little guy there, one little guy there. I don't see a third one, but I'm going to pop those off and find out where this third one is. And I think really all that's doing is just giving us access so then we can come back here and start getting these bolts off. But anyway, let's start blasting off some bolts. So a little interesting thing to point out, so my Jeep has 37s on it with no lift, right, because it's a 4xe Rubicon. And it fits, but you can see where, you know, occasionally it does get some rubbish on the plastic. I mean, it's just barely, right? I've never heard it in the back. I can hear it only in the front sometimes at full lock. But apparently while we're driving or we're going over stuff, we're getting a little bit of contact, but, you know, nothing super concerning. I mean, you could always cut this out if you had to. All right, so under here, guys, we just got to take these bolts out of here. So these are 21mm, so I just used my little impact. Boom, boom, boom. Next, we got to take off these 4 bolts for this kind of bracket here. 2 there, 2 bolts there. That'll kind of get this portion out of the way. This is still locked in, but these are actually holding the bumper on. Okay, so 2 more bolts. There's a 10mm headed bolt here, and one more like right there, whoop, right there. And so once those are out, then I think all we got now is just these 4 bolts that are actually holding the bumper on. Now the bottom 2 bolts, I was able to put my electric impact on, no problem, but this top bolt, you can see there's not much room in there. And to get a standard wrench, even a 12-point, I couldn't get any room in there. So I've got kind of one of these type of sockets. So this one makes it handy, but you can actually get it in there. Once you get these loose, I mean, you can get them out by hand at that point. But yeah, this one works pretty well. I was able to loosen it. You know, you don't get much movement, but at least it's going. So keep working on that. And then I think that might be it. The bumper should come off, I think. Let's see. All right. Moment of truth. Let's see if this guy will come off here. We're going to have to undo the electrical. Don't know how much hanging room we're going to have. Okay, don't feel like too much hanging room. Oh, okay. Well, there we go. Oh, there we go. Okay, nothing's broke over here. So just some electrical on this side, it looks like. Okay, there we go. All right, I see ya. For this connector, there's just a little tab right here, this white tab. So just take your screwdriver, push that down, and then just kind of push here, and this whole thing will come right out. So that's pretty simple. Do that before you take the bumper off. It'll make your life a lot easier. So anyway, now we got the bumper out of the way. Now we can finish taking off the last 2 bolts for this. The instructions said to take this off first, but I tell you what, definitely do it now because now you got way better access. You can just pop this thing off. All right, so if you've got this factory tow hitch deal like I do, I don't think it's going to work because when I kind of mock this up, just kind of put it at the same level, you can see where the hitch for this rear bumper, it sits, you know, 2 or 3 inches lower. And so that's because they've got a cutout on the back of the bumper over there, you know, to ride right on top of this. So this stock one definitely has to go. Anyway, it's going to be really easy. Once we get the new bumper, it's just going to boop, get blown in with 4 bolts, 2 here, 2 here. Oh, I've got to get this bracket off still. So there's 2 bolts over here holding in this bracket. Looks like I just forgot to take them off. So, all right, let's get that off, get this hitch out of the way, and see what we got. All right, so for this hitch, they give us all new hardware. The hardware is a little bit different anyway. I tried to actually reuse the stock one, but I think the thread was a little bit different. Plus, the original one used a bracket with a captured nut. This doesn't. Now we're going to bolt it up, and it's going to have just a regular nut on the back. So let's get this heavy boy up there. Oh, there we go. Okay. So once we get ready to put this bumper on, the one thing I was telling you guys we got to put on is this captured nut. So again, you just kind of sit this bad boy in there, and then once the bumper gets kind of put over top, there'll be 2 bolts that get shot here, 2 bolts underneath, and then this side, this one actually already has captured nuts, so you don't need to do it on this side. So, but basically, boom, it's just going to slide right in. So before I put the bumper on, actually, you know what? I am going to go ahead and mock it up real quick. Because before we put it on for real, there is some stuff you got to bolt onto it. It's just easier to do it off the car than on. So let's see. Oh my God, this thing's actually heavy. Oh. Okay. What are we hitting here? Tire? Yep, we're hitting the tire a little bit. You know what, guys? I do think, so it still has to go back about 2 inches. This will hang down below our attachment for our electrical outlet, but I think it'll be fine. You still have access to it. This won't be like touching it. You'll still have enough room to get your hand in there and connect it, I think. So should be good, but since I've got 37s on this bad boy, the bumper's just having a little bit of trouble. I might have to just loosen these bolts up a little bit on the tire just so I can move it out, and then I'll be able to slide it in there. One thing I wanted to mention too is what they've done here. So there is no provision to use like a light for the license plate like how we had, you know, originally. But the idea, I think what they're thinking is they're going to have the plate here, and so once this is bolted up, it'll be even higher. But that way you're going to get light. Once you have your running lights on, the running lights will reflect right down onto the plate, so you don't really need an extra light because it'll be lit up. So I'm guessing that's their idea, so I'm going to roll with it and see. All right, so again, since I got 37s, and this made it a little bit tough, I'm going to go ahead and pop the rear wheel off. So pretty easy. You've never done it before. T40 Torx bit. You just turn it by hand, and then that'll get your cover off here. Yeah, okay. 7/8. Let's get this big meaty beast out of here. Oh yeah, boy. Oh yeah. All right, look at how much room we got. So much room for activities. All right, so the next section we're at is we just want to get our bumper prepared to put it on for the final time. So we've got, oh, I didn't even get enough bolts. We got enough for one side. But anyway, we're just going to slide these, I think these are the M12s, the big boys. Well, not the biggest, but pretty big. Slide those guys. Oh, maybe not. See, the bolt holes are a little small. So sometimes you run into this. Let me make sure I got the right bolts. But sometimes you run into this where tolerances are so tight, and then once you get it powder coated, they're too tight. But nope, I got the right bolts. The only other ones are the big guys. So I might just have to run a drill through here just real quick, just to clear that out. Got it. Yep. This guy's still holding tight. All right, the last thing we got to pop on here is our license plate bracket. So just a couple little easy bolts they give you. Look like stainless steel too, so that's nice. I hate rusty freaking bolts on my license plate stuff. And then it looks like once you get this up, it'll be hard to get bolts on. So I'm gonna get my plate and everything all on there too. These just are hex head bolts too, so probably, I don't know, 2mm, 3mm hex, but get this bolted up, and then we're ready to slide this baby in position. All right, we got our plate all on there, and we should be good, I think, to go ahead and pop this thing on. All right, let's see if we can get this guy up on here by myself. Get her lined up here. It's just awkward because it wants to rock backwards. All right, we're pretty close. I think we just got to take our rubber mallet, just kind of whack it a bit. Yeah, they both got to go back a couple inches. We're not hitting nothing, right? Nope. I think we're kind of sitting on top of, yeah, there we go. Just sitting on top of that. Just about looks good. All right, now we just got to zip 4 of the big bolts onto each side. So 4 of these guys, they're probably 21 millimeters or the 19s, but we'll get those on and then we can get outside and have a look at it. All right, so before I toss the tire back on, I just wanted to get you guys in here up close, take a look at it real quick. So look at the fit and finish. I mean, I like how this thing wraps around, you know, the edge of the bumper. Looks real nice, looks real clean. Plate looks good, got the D-hook things on there. I ended up taking the OEM, you know, Jeep, whatever this thing is, cover thing, stuck that on here, so that's nice. And let me get you down here to show you. So like I was telling you guys, with the factory Jeep tow system or whatever, there is still room down here. So this still opens up and you'll have access to get your stuff in there. So should be good to go on that. Yeah, here's this side, looks nice and clean. So looks cool. All right, let me get the wheel back on. We'll get this thing outside before we lose our daylight, and we'll kind of show you some side by side. All right, tire back on. Just wanted to also show, so this is with 37s, and you can see we got plenty of clearance. Now I do have the relocation bracket, you know, that moves this whole tire up a couple inches. I did a whole other video. I'll link that up here somewhere. But anyway, with the with this bumper, yep, we've got plenty of clearance. We've still got, you know, about 3 fingers worth in between there. Ooh, there's an issue. I must have put that thing on backwards. Okay, yeah, okay. So, yep, I definitely put this on backwards. So, this is supposed to be the other way. So, okay. Let's get that fixed real quick. Fixed. You got like, you know, I don't know, 1/2 inch clearance. Perfect. Just got to make sure when you walk by you don't blow yourself out on this thing, but pretty cool. The only little sad part I got is it blocks my 4xe badge, which, you know, I like showing it's 4xe. I like my blue tow hooks. They're gone. So, like I said, maybe I can get these things powder coated front and back with the blue. That'll match my whole theme, right, of the, you know, red and blue, red, white, and blue, America, freedom. All right, guys, have a look at this. So we've got my wife's 21 Wrangler Rubicon 4xe, still with stock bumpers compared with ours with the new YITAMOTOR front and rear aftermarket steel bumpers, and I think it just looks freaking sick. My wife's Jeep's got 35s on it, no lift, you know, stock wheels. Mine's got 37, same thing, no lift. So just to give you an idea, got a little ketchup and mustard action, but this bumper looks great. Love it. I really like the placement of my license plate too. It's really cool. Move over to the front. Got our side steps, matching that whole theme. But man, the front bumper, what a difference, guys. Look at this. Just soak it all in for a second. Yeah, I like that. Nice stubby, you know, much shorter. Let those wheels, or should I say tires, hang out. Looking sick. But yeah, really liking it. Say hello to the 20-foot snowman. All right, so let's recap on the bumper installation from YITAMOTOR. So these bumpers for me, everything went pretty smooth. You know, when you're doing custom aftermarket installations like this, you're going to run into a few little hiccups like I did, where I just had to make a few holes a little bit bigger. So no big deal. It took me, you know, maybe all of 1 minute with my Unibit. So just keep that stuff in mind. But otherwise, very easy. You know, with the JLs, they're still pretty new, so you're not going to run into a lot of corrosion and rust, hopefully. So that makes the job a lot easier. But I've never installed bumpers before, you know, on any kind of Wrangler. So it was my first time, and it was pretty simple. The instructions really were very good, you know, as far as helping me out. So I didn't even like watch any YouTube videos on how to do it beforehand. So very impressed. That works great. I love the looks and everything. And these are super affordable. I think we paid about a little over $700 for the pair, right, for front and back. So I think that's a pretty great deal. And again, you could bolt these on in one day. You know, I did it within just a few hours, and I'm also stopping, filming, you know, and that takes so much more time. So you could easily probably knock this out in like 3-4 hours if it's your very first time, with just some simple hand tools and all that good stuff. So hopefully this helps you out, guys. So go ahead and check out some of my other videos. Make sure you check the links down below. I'll put the links to this on Amazon, so you guys could check it out, pick them up for yourselves if you're interested. And like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care.